Highline is more than schools. It's people. Students, educators, leaders, families, and neighbors, each with a story to tell. These are our people, and these are our stories. Welcome to the Promise Podcast, where we share how the Highline Promise comes to life. Every student is known by name, strength, and need, and graduates prepare for the future they choose. I'm your host, Superintendent Duran. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Promise Podcast. Today is a special experience because we are recording live at Midway Elementary School in a fifth grade classroom of Mr. Vaswig. So, Mr. Vaswig, welcome to the Promise Podcast.
Thank you so much. So glad we got to do it here, and you get to kind of see where all the learning happens, and you get to see the kids, and they're right now working on their bilingual narrative stories, so they're doing great.
Yeah, they're doing a wonderful job right now, so thank you for allowing us to be in this space. It's a real honor to be where all the magic happens on a day-to-day basis.
Of course, more than welcome.
Well, let's just get started with, please introduce yourself. We already said your name, but just what's your role, how long have you been in Highline, and just what's your connection to Highline overall?
My name is Vaswig, fifth grade teacher here at Midway Elementary. This is my third year teaching at Midway, all in this fifth grade position. Third year overall in Highline as well. Prior to that, I taught private school at a Christian school for 10 years. My wife and I also live right here in the area in Des Moines, and we have our two oldest girls that go to Midway Elementary as well.
Well, great. Well, this podcast is all about talking about the stories related to our promise, which is to know every student by name, strength, and need so they graduate prepared for the future that they choose. So how do you see that promise come alive in your day-to-day work, everyday experiences?
Yeah, I really appreciate the work that Highline does, especially at the beginning part of the year. I think starting from the beginning on name, those first couple of weeks of school are my favorite because you are really getting to the students to be proud of their identity and of their name, and you do so much community building around who they are. Strength is one, to me, I go straight to relationships. I think as a teacher, it's imperative that I build relationships with these students so that I start to understand not just what their strengths are, but also where their areas of growth could be. The hardest one is need, if I'm being completely honest with you. Sometimes what some of these kids need is out of my control as their teacher. Yeah,
that's probably an ongoing challenge that we all face. And last night I was down at Pacific Lutheran University. I go down and we talk to a group of aspiring teachers who are just getting ready to graduate. And one of the things that we really emphasize and we tell the future teachers is that here in Highline we have almost 80 community partners. And I really encourage them to, one, find a community that they really want to serve. And that's so important, as you think about your teaching career, but then also to find out who are the community partners that can help you, because our students do have needs, whether it's basic needs around food, shelter, mental health needs, and support, and so my hope is that we can continue to utilize those community partners, because I know as a classroom teacher, you cannot do it at all. And I often talk to my team around, we may have a lot of concerns and worries about, our students, but we have to really think about what do we directly influence, because that's where we can spend some of our greatest time. I want to take a moment to thank our community and our voters for passing our 2022 bond. We have completed Tye High School, Evergreen High School, and Pacific will be done here in the next year, and it's going to be an amazing space for our students. So really grateful to our
community. It already looks amazing.
Yeah. All right. Well, you are both a teacher and a parent here at Midway, so how does that shape the way you show up at school?
First and foremost, it allows me to just be who I am, if that makes any sense. I mean, obviously, I'm a parent before all things, right? These girls that my wife and I have are most important, but it allows me to just kind of be present in being a parent and a teacher at the same time. I mean, those moments where I get to go down and give my girls a kiss before the day starts, and then I go on to teaching. I mean, it really invigorates me as a teacher. The other part that's been interesting about it even happened this morning. A lot of people don't know me here as Mr. Vaswig. They know me as Vivian's dad or Lucille's dad, right? So a lot of kids will come up to me and, Vivian's dad, Lucille's dad. And I think that's so cool. Yeah. I think that's so fun. They're seeing a little bit more of a human side of me rather than just a teaching side of me. I think it would be the same for these fifth graders in this classroom, because they've also seen our girls grow up here at this school, and they know that being a parent is such a high priority for me, and I'm very open with sharing the stories about being a parent as a way to help connect and build relationships with them. it's also led to some things where my girls bring things up at home, and then I bring it up to my 5th grade class, and they're like, yeah, that's going on. What can we do about that? So it's led to some changes that I think for the positive, where I wouldn't even have the insight to be able to hear that unless our girls were telling me that at home. So that part's been fun as well. So I for me, it's like a constant back and forth, a constant blend. They're here. They do long days because they get here with me at 8 and they're here till at least 5 every day. So they're really used to being around here, and they have a great relationship with so many students and so many staff here at Midway.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's a great connection and opportunity to be able to have that.
Yeah,
it's a rare thing to happen.
It is rare. It is rare, and I'm really trying to soak it in as much as I can.
For our listeners out there, if you're wondering, we are still in the 5th grade classroom here. Students are doing a great job.
Can you believe it? These kids
doing
are
some
awesome,
work,
right?
writing, and you may hear a little bit of background of student reading their work, but we're in a classroom. This is what happens. So again, thank you for this.
They are learning. They're doing great.
Yeah. So you were actually recommended to be on the podcast by one of our Native American educators here in Highline, and part of that is because they've talked about just you really love teaching history, especially our since time immemorial curriculum, the John McCoy curriculum. So why is it important to teach this curriculum honesty, even in its complexity, or oftentimes where it's uncomfortable to talk about the history of, Native Americans here in Washington and in our country overall?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I would begin by saying that the truth matters when it comes to history. I think the only way we can learn from history is to actually look and see what actually took place, what historical events led to certain things, so that we can either grow and improve on that or try to avoid it in the future. Specifically, the second unit for 5th grade is the colonization of America.
Okay.
So we happen to just live in an area of the country that has a great deal of Native American rich history. The colonization of America happened in a way that was unfair to many of those people, all of those people. Teaching it in a way where the students understand this isn't something that we're making up. This is all historical things. These are all historical events. And they were pushed out of their homes. And understanding that in the same way, this was also some of the first time that Black people were brought here from Africa, and they were enslaved and they were put to work here in this country as well. And European people came here and they chose to stay here. So I think being real about those conversations, that's what history is, being able to have conversations. And it doesn't mean history always had to have negative connotation. There's a lot of positive connotation we could talk about with George Washington taking a group of people across the Delaware River on Christmas, and the amount of courage and the amount of future growth that led to within the country as well. But there are many things within the history of this country that I think it's important that the truth be told, and those conversations have led to incredible discussions in this classroom, specifically with these 5th graders asking poignant questions about how could this be? How did we get there? How do we then get better and move on and improve as a culture and as a society from it?
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And I think one of the things that's so important with the curriculum is that it not only brings up the importance of our Native American students and families and tribes that are here today, but connecting back to that history is so important.
Connecting back to the history.
Knowledge of that history will hopefully ensure that we don't repeat it again. But unfortunately, we are seeing some very unfortunate things here, currently within our country. But I think it's important for everyone to learn that history so they have that deep understanding around our Native education work and the people that we serve.
No, I agree. And I think there are unfortunate aspects going on, specifically with some historical things being omitted because they're just harder to go there, harder to discuss. And I just think that is doing a disservice. That is doing a disservice to our youth. That is doing a disservice to the future of our country. And that's doing a disservice to these kids that are in this classroom right now.
Yeah, there's some states here in the United States that actually have changed some of the history because they don't want to teach the difficult parts, but we have to acknowledge what we've done in the past and really work our hardest to ensure we don't continue to repeat that type of history moving forward.
Yeah, and I can also say, I didn't know how, because I taught a lot of history at the private school, right? So I didn't know what that transition was going to be like going from private to public, and I can only say positive things about Highline, about not just about how the curriculum is built and how the curriculum can be placed in a way that multi-language learners can actually absorb it and apply it, but also Highline really highlights the emphasis on the truth, the emphasis on historical things and learning from it.
That's great. Well, thank you for teaching that and just continue to do it. And I love what you said around the truth matters. And we have
Absolutely.
to continue to put the truth out there, especially during these times. So,
Yep.
all right. So, who has inspired or supported you along your journey here in Highline?
Oh, I've had a lot of helpful people. I've been pretty blessed in this school. When I started here 3 years ago, it was also the same year that Lion Terry and Marco Martinez started too. So
Okay,
we've
yeah.
kind of been along this journey together. We all started at the same time, and there was some hard days in that first year being here. To be honest with you, we were not just at me as a teacher, but I could see it in them as well. There were some things that we just couldn't figure out because we didn't know the school climate yet. We didn't know the school population. So I would say both of them have been instrumental in my growth here. I've also had an incredible coach recently, Marissa Galima, who's just really sat with me and helped me to use GLAD strategies and use UDL strategies in a way that we are actually reaching all of the students in my class. I would say that has probably been one of my largest challenges coming from the private to public, about the levels of how I can create curriculum and teach in a way that everyone has access to it.
Yeah.
I didn't really have
Yeah.
to have that too much in the last gig. And then I've really enjoyed my teaching partner these past couple of years, Michael Alvarado. He's a super young Spanish teacher, and he's just awesome. We've just had a blast teaching together as well.
That's great. That's important to have that level of connection and partnership as you share
Absolutely.
the students, work with the students
Exactly.
back and forth.
So, and it's, there's none of this my class stuff. It's our class because he has them half the time and I have them half the time. So we literally have the students the exact amount of time, and we've kind of been able to work together to help develop those relationships with students that have been incredibly helpful in the classroom.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I was here at Midway in that first year to do a listening tour, if you remember that or not. So
I do, yeah.
definitely see a lot of changes that have gone on here. I know there's still a lot of work to do, but a lot of great shifts that have happened here to benefit our students and
Absolutely.
the community as a whole. So.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Well, when you think about the future for yourself, for your students, students here in fifth grade, and our community, what gives you hope these days?
What gives me hope is that there's a lot of students here that know how to persevere already. They have already shown that they're resilient and that they know how to push through and how to get through hard things because they're just going to happen. Yeah. I think that part's been pretty incredible and inspiring for me as a teacher, but I do think that seeing them get through that and seeing them get through with gracious hearts and having joy in their day, and really what we focus in this classroom is learning.
Yeah.
That's my sign. Like if we're learning first, and if we're learning first, we are laughing a bunch too, but the learning still comes first, right?
That's great.
So I think the amount of academic growth that I've seen, and I would say specifically even in this class that's right behind me right now, has just been incredible to be a part of and to watch them not only be students, but also at times be the teacher when I've needed them to, right? So they're helping each other a lot. We have a lot of peer partner work, a lot of group work, a lot of times where there's certain aspects that they are able to spread the learning in ways that I can't do just on my own.
Oh, that's great. Sounds like a great learning community you've created
Absolutely.
here.
No,
So.
and super fun kids too. Like
Yeah.
that's the other part. Very
Well,
fun.
I love that you speak about laughing, and because you need to have joyful classrooms, and then just the resilience is so important. So as you think about that resilience and the joy that you're trying to create in your classroom, just what's one dream you have for your students and for our Highline students?
Yeah, I mean, my dream follows a little bit of the Highline Promise that they will graduate and they will pursue a future of their need. I also have a dream of them being just positive citizens and community members, not just obviously the academics is a huge focus for me here in fifth grade, but as they grow up, they'll start to have a lot more independence in who they are and decisions that they can make for the positive or the negative. I think making positive choices that will positively impact the people around them, that would be probably my biggest goal. Those would be the stories that I want to hear about the most. And I think selfishly, a large goal would be for them to keep in touch with me too as they get older, because I always enjoy hearing about some of these kids and the things that they're able to accomplish and able to achieve when they get older. So keep in touch with Mr. Vaswig, please.
That's important. I think it's so important to think about their future and what they can contribute to both to society and how they participate in this democracy to
Yeah.
really try to create a better place for everyone that is here. So,
Yeah, and as we've just talked about a little bit, I think the future of this country is so important right now, and we are at a bit of a breaking point where I think these kids and how they can impact that is such a crucial point.
That's right. Very, very much I agree with you 100% there. So, all right. Well, this is our final question. I want you to think about this a little bit. You can take this personal, professional, but what's something you're reading, watching, or listening to right now that you would recommend to our listeners?
Oh, man. Well, being on the history aspect, I just recently finished a book called 1619. And this was the real truth of what happened and when black people were first brought to this country. And it kind of outlines the systemic racism that have taken place in this country from the very beginning. And then it really gives a lot of great details as to, and horrifying and sad details as to how so many of these individuals were treated. I was actually able to find a student-friendly version, and I did a read aloud with the kids about it as well. Hard things to hear about, but again, the history and the truth, and these things happened and these things mattered. So I think that focusing for me on learning about history while teaching history is so important. I just think no matter what, even on these colonization of America units that I'm teaching, every time I teach, I learn something new. And every time right now, I'm super excited because I get to start a Civil War unit. And that's brand new for me. So I would say most importantly, and my dad taught me this at a young age, I think history is just one of those things that it kind of has to be instilled in you. And learning and reading about history is so important to be able to teach it, because I think you have to be educated in a certain way to be able to actually get it across to the students as well. Yeah,
I agree. And I think there's an element of it too around understanding a person's individual history to really get connected to their identity in a deeper way and understand who their people are, where they come from, the positives, the strengths of that, and really using that for their current and future selves.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just finished actually as well the Diary of Frederick Douglass. And these students are going to get to kind of dive into the Diary of Frederick Douglass as well, which to me is such an interesting piece of history because it's in his own words, it's in his own writing, and it goes right along with the Civil War and aspects that he was able to change. I think that true leader of America, Frederick Douglass.
That's great. I'll have to come back and see some of the work that the students are doing with that.
We would love it. You are always welcome.
All right. Well, wonderful. Well, Zach, thank you so much for being on the Promise Podcast. And your students have done an amazing job. And so if you want to open it up maybe to have them do a little shout out, we can get them on recording right now. So
yeah, let's do it. How y'all doing? Oh, wait, I can't hear you. How y'all doing? You good? Good. All right, give a shout out to the podcast, huh? Want to give one
All right. Well, that's it for this episode of the Promise Podcast. These stories remind us that Highland is built by people, students, staff, families, and community members, each making the promise real in their own way. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. I'm your host, Dr. Ivan Duran. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to sharing more stories with you soon.